Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the Professor, and this is the Moment of Truth. First of all, let's get some house cleaning out of the way. My channel isn't monetized, so I could care less about advertisers not liking anything that I say. I have every incentive to only say what you want to hear, which is the truth. Now, this account has been under a flag campaign for a couple of weeks now. This has not been some spontaneous or coincidental thing. This is part of one of those organized efforts. Whenever too many people are listening, whenever the truth is breaking through, then this stuff starts up. And so over the course of the last few weeks, a number of videos have been age restricted, including my video about the real Dr. King. The reason that YouTube gave for putting an age gate on that one was that it violated the guidelines on sex and nudity. I'm not making that up, that's what they claimed. Now, I challenged this age restriction because obviously there was nothing to support it, and they sent a response saying, oh, it violated the policy all right. Now, of course, the video has no sexual imagery, doesn't even talk about sex, and yet that's the lie that YouTube went with. So, you can't even post videos giving Dr. King quotes without YouTube censoring it. Well, actually, it has nothing to do with Dr. King at all. It's a matter of my video pushed the wrong narrative, and too many people saw it. Soon afterwards, my video explaining why Will Smith is a punk for his Oscars fiasco was also age restricted. I challenged that restriction, and as you can see, these are two emails that I received on last Monday. The first one is time-stamped at 10 o'clock a.m. It said that after not-so-careful review, YouTube determined that they were in the wrong and my video didn't violate any of their insipid guidelines, and they apologized for being so dense. And then 42 minutes after that, I got a second email now saying that the video violated their guidelines on cyberbullying and harassment, and they were removing it and striking the channel. This happened in less than an hour. One email saying everything's fine, yeah, no guidelines have been violated, and then immediately after that, we're striking the channel, you violated guidelines. Now that video got over 190,000 views by the time that YouTube violated its own terms of service and removed it, so clearly it was seen by more than a few people. Now I think that Will Smith is on YouTube, and Jada Pinkett Smith, who can't get an acting job to save her life, she certainly has nothing but time on her hands to see who's saying what about her on the internet. And as clearly thin-skinned as both of them are, I wouldn't be at all surprised if they or any of their well-wishers were responsible for it, though the most likely suspects are also the most obvious and usual ones, the ones who are normally behind this kind of thing, usually the white supremacists and their ideological fellow travelers, a lot of these down-in-the-mouth Negroes who don't like the truth that we tell about the Bootlicks. There's a number of fools who like to hate watch what it is that I do, and that being the case, this is the closest to relevance they're ever going to get, and as they can see, they didn't get very close. But regardless of that, it doesn't even matter. One thing is for certain. This is as clear an example as anyone should need that YouTube's so-called guidelines are not guidelines at all. It's the old white supremacist because I say so. Now, when the channel was struck, a lot of people wondered what had happened. Now, I know that a lot of you may not be big on Twitter. I'm not big on Facebook either. I'm certainly not somebody who seeks that kind of thing out. But there's a Twitter link that's listed in every single one of my videos for a reason. So for future reference, when the channel is attacked, or if anything else happens, your first move should always be to check my Twitter. In fact, you should already be subscribed to me on Twitter, not because I'm trying to get the biggest Twitter following. I could care less about that. It's so that the people who actually want to make sure they don't miss any of the truth don't miss any of the truth. YouTube isn't attacking me because I'm so great. They're doing it as an attack on you. Too many of you are listening, and white power is threatened by this. So make sure that from now on you're following me on Twitter. That way, no matter what happens, you don't miss out. Alright, now let's go ahead and deal with the subject at hand for today's morning briefing. Bootlicks are usually easy to spot. Most of them have to be because white power demands that they commit to it completely. A Clarence Thomas, a Lil Nas X, a Barack Obama, they stick out like sore thumbs. Most bootlicks present themselves as exactly what they are, and they do the bidding of their racist paymasters. Most of the out-and-out bootlicks tell black people that we should support them because they're black too, like Barack Obama and his cheerleaders. or they suck up to the white right by saying that they're the good blacks, like a Jason Whitlock or a Charles Barkley. Now, this little hustle of theirs has become significantly harder since the black grassroots began to get active. And you know who else has found it a lot harder for them to operate? The undercover bootlicks. Now, when I say undercover, I don't mean like a Messy Jesse or a Van Jones. I mean the ones who try to act like they speak for the black street, who try to act like they're not part of the establishment, be it on the white left or the white right. The ones who try to pretend to be political outsiders, or not interested in politics or racial justice issues at all. That is, until white power needs them to be, then they suddenly got an opinion, but it's always the opposite of what the black consensus is. A lot of chumps out there are trying desperately to rebrand themselves because the black media has made it clear everyone's going to have to declare where they stand. The old weasel words and trying to talk around the issue and not come straight up the middle, we're not letting that stand. Everybody who tries to find a way to hide behind some word salad's getting called out. We're showing you the difference between what they claimed they were doing and what they actually did. People who used to be like tabby cats around massa are now trying to talk tough because of the impact that the black grassroots has had on the discourse. Take Cobra, for instance, the phony reparations group. They've been around for the longest time. They brag about how they allegedly are the oldest reparations advocacy organization in the country and haven't gotten anything to show for it in all this time, except to get themselves invited to the next Democrat luncheon, brunch, or fish fry. I wish I was making that up too. All these Negroes who just want to be part of the cheese and croissant circuit to get invited to the right free meal, get their picture taken with some well-known Democratic politicians, and then have the nerve to come back to us and tell us that they're doing big things. And because some of us are only too easily impressed, we see Big Bird having some do-nothing interview with Kamala Harris, and some of us will think that he's some sort of shot caller. After all, he's able to get the vice president to come talk to him, so that means he must be some sort of big shot. Well, black empowerment isn't about show friends, it's about show business. And these undercover bootlicks are not getting any business done. They never have and they never intended to. Their job is to calm us down, to tell us that they're going to press our demands, and then they don't do anything and they come back to us after they've gotten their free lunch and they explain to us why the politicians just can't do anything for us and we gotta keep waiting, and don't worry, they're gonna go back and get those guys told and tell them that you better take black folks' concerns seriously. Well, we're not up for the chitter chatter, but some of the worst offenders in this regard are some of these rappers. Some of these guys who you've seen on cable TV telling you and me to vote Democrat, or chumps who talk tough in front of you and me, but then they go posing for pictures with Joe Rogan, all of their teeth just flashing, showing them pearly whites, and explaining to you and me why Joe Rogan's not racist. The only thing more insidious than a black person who's sold out to white power openly is the one who takes out the time to cultivate a phony persona meant to gain some black cred with us. And then as soon as massa's butt is in a crack, here they come to tell all of us why we need to obey massa and not cause any trouble. People who spend a lot of time convincing us that they're down. And then as soon as white power gets some resistance from us, they put on the cape and fly to the rescue. Jay-Z was skinning and grinning when Colin Kaepernick became a cause celeb. Jay-Z was sitting beside Roger Goodell telling black folks, we can't worry about Kaepernick. Of course, the concern wasn't about Kaepernick specifically at all. And Jay-Z knew that, but his entire point was to get out there and be a blackface, a prominent blackface that the white media had made prominent. And tell black folks we're going to be worried about whether or not Kaepernick's going to be playing. Is this an action item? Is this actionable? And you wonder how Beyonce always seems to get invited to do a Super Bowl halftime show, huh? Oh, when Jay-Z did that, I heard the crap about how this a chess move, brother, when he doing a chess move. But we haven't heard that talking point used since, have we? Like a lot of these other Negroes in media, Jay-Z sold his soul a long time ago. His job was to con you into thinking that he hadn't. So these undercover bootlicks, they know they need to gain our confidence before the white powers that be will put them on. We're going into an election cycle this year, and we're hearing a lot about how important this election is. But nobody's coming to us with any tangibles, so it must not be that important. A lot of the overt bootlicks are still in hiding. They've been waiting for us to forget about all the lies Biden and Harris told on the campaign trail in 2020. They tried to come out when Juneteenth was made a holiday, but we made it clear that we're demanding tangibles, not gestures, so they had to go slither back into the shadows. And we didn't stop keeping score when Biden was inaugurated either. We've been watching all the grimy crap he's been doing against us since he took the presidency, telling black people he's got our backs while wholesale ignoring us, claiming that he was signing an executive order on the anniversary of the date that George Floyd was murdered. Oh, we're going to start having executive orders to deal with this police misconduct. And at the exact same time, he was sending his inspector general to tell the Supreme Court to strike down the Miranda warning. And not only have your establishment Negroes who you see on cable TV or who have made a career, such as it is, out of carrying water for the Democrats, not only have they been silent, but also a whole lot of these Negroes who would want you and me to think that they talk tough when it comes to black folks' issues, they've been silent about that too. Haven't heard anything from them about that. We need to be watching for the undercover bootlicks. The ones who amen us when we're calling out anti-black racism, but as soon as we begin saying what we're going to do to retaliate, then they start giving us all the reasons we shouldn't. Or they're silent when some particularly egregious action happens, as long as it comes from the right quarters. They can try to hide and duck and dodge all they want. But the B1 is on this particular case. And we're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that these double agents' cover gets blown wide open. Good day, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors. Jeffrey Williams, Burkett Cochrane, Edward Lovett, Kenneth Prescia, and Richie Lazare. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.